Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Rich Girl Real Talk, where the vibe is elevation and joy. I'm your host, Erica Rich, and for those that are new, welcome to the safe space that we call the Rich Girl Real Talk vibe. And for those that are returning, hey y'all. I'm happy you're here for another episode. Today's episode is definitely on the elevation side. We're going to be talking about what's been going on with this LSU and Iowa game. Now, I had to bring my 2 cents into it. I just had to ching ching put them in there. Now, I know we've seen all the backlash, all of the different correspondents giving their 2 cents, but now it's my time. Now I'm going to use my platform to really speak from my perspective. And here it go. So now I think that this game was definitely a catalyst for the uncomfortable conversations that need to be had, that we continue to have, but I feel like, are we getting somewhere? Is it really sinking in? For those that I feel like when someone is receptive to feedback or to be able to really sit with something that is being made light of, or that the illumination to this specific situation is happening, then okay, they're receptive and they might look at it and digest it and actually do something about it. Or you might just be talking to a brick wall. You'd be like, hey, brick wall, you got the point yet? And of course, they're not saying nothing because it's a brick wall and they're not receiving it anyway. But it's still at least out there, because then you know, everybody could be able to do something about it when they're ready to receive it. Anywho, now I love the game of basketball. Basketball is one of my favorite sports. I used to play many moons ago. I had dreams of being like the female Muggsy Bogues because I'm only like 5'3.5". I like to put that half a lot, but sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I'm just saying, 5'3.5". And so I felt like I could be the first female in the NBA, 5'3.5", like a little young Moses. What is it called? Muggsy. Come on, Muggsy. Come on, shortstop. So I do love the game, but see, when my brother started getting a little too Joe Jackson for me, that's when it became something different. Like I remember it was us in Oakland, and he was like, "Come on, Eric, you gotta dribble the ball like this. You gotta go ahead and go to the left, to the right, fake them out like." And I'm like, I don't even want to do it anymore. Just ugh. But I always still had a love for the game. I had so much fun playing it. But he's on another level. Them Leos, man, I tell you. He was on another level. But anywho, in those times when I get a chance to break away from dinner, squeak, Cocoa Melon, or some Blippy on YouTube, I'll take some time in my mommy break to catch a little highlight reel or even flip it to ESPN when the season's up. Now, for those that know me, they know that I'm a Warriors fan. You know what I'm saying? I love the Warriors, even though it's a little shaky right now. This season's not going the way I thought it would, but I'ma stick beside them. I'ma stick beside them. Now, when I'm watching the game, I'm in this space where these are certain things that I expect. One, I expect to see some buckets. I want to see Curry with the sauce. I want to see the Splash Brothers giving them that work. I want to see Jordan Poole adding a little bit of hot sauce to the chili. And I want to see Draymond Green getting extra spicy in the 3-4 position. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are some of the things I like to see. I'm always here for it. I'm also expecting to see some fouls. Like, it just happens. Especially if I'm watching like the Memphis game. Anybody that Memphis does play. And then of course when you got Draymond and then you got Memphis, shout out to North Memphis. But it's always different. It always hits different. But these are the ingredients. These are the ingredients for what we would say a heck of a game would be. With all of the juiciness happening, all of that vibrato, all of that spice, and everything nice. I'm here for it, present and accounted for. And I wouldn't expect it any different in the collegiate level. I mean, it's definitely different, but that same energy is kept. Now, going back to this LSU and Iowa game, it hits different because it's pretty much hitting all different types of pressure points. All of my pressure points for different situations were hit when it came to this particular game. Now, I want to start off with, what is the definition of humility? Because everybody was like, oh, that was so classless. This was this, X, Y, and Z. Oh my gosh. Now, humility. What is humility? According to Oxford, humility is a modest or low view of one's importance. Humbleness. Now, as a woman, I can't help but think of the times in a male dominated environment, or even in a sport that is particularly dominated by like the male energy. When a woman does it, it's different. So, in a male dominated environment, meekness from a woman is acceptable in most cases. Overt, outspoken, know it all energy, quote unquote, is frowned upon from us, from women. Now, of course, we're coming to a space where certain things are normalized and people are saying, okay, yes, this is a different space, this is a different era. But it still very much happens, and especially even in the military, when you have a lot more men, significantly more men than women in those spaces. So when you're a higher ranking female, or even if tend to have a little bit of skin in the game, they still a little different for them to perceive certain things a certain way just because of our gender. Furthermore, anytime a woman shows that same energy, I must say, it's always, oh, she's doing too much, or she's difficult to work with. I've seen some of that. Now, this is a broad generalization, and I won't say every work environment is like that, but I know, y'all know, like I'm looking inside of this little space, and I'm looking out into the distance, and I'm raising these two fingers from eyes to your eyes. If you can't feel it, it's happening, because you know that this happens. you know that sexism, it permeates, even if it's in a micro level, it's still there, and you feel it. You feel it, unless you have a space where it is an anomaly in a sense, or even my own perception of what would be an anomaly. Because I'll just say that, because again, I'm trying not to generalize, but I feel it. I feel it in my spirit that this kind of, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. But this level of sexism, of saying, oh my gosh, it's different, is perceived to be, oh, it's classless, or it's perceived to be a negative sportsmanship when a female or a woman does it. This is definitely something that has been being contested in this platform of the sports arena for so long. And yes, we're making, there's some strides, but it doesn't mean that it's completely, expunged. It's there. In my humble opinion. This is my humble opinion. Now, of course, we can't do this or that, or we would be, quote unquote, not enough of showing us not enough of showing that femininity. Or if we exude strength, but we can't exude too much, because then that would be, oh, that's overpowering. That's too much. Oh my gosh, she's a strong woman. Oh, guard us, hold us. Don't make me get a heart attack up in this bitch. Show some vulnerability, but you better not cry. They can't see you cry, because if they see you cry, oh, she weak, or she's X, Y, or Z. Show passion, but not too much, or you'll be deemed, you know what. Now, whereas men in that same space can do all of this and not feel the ramifications to the extent of us, of the female counterparts in this conversation. And clearly, as I bring it back to basketball or any sports, you're gonna see trash talk. It's a staple. It's just one of those things, especially when you have so many people, especially at the level that they're playing on. But even just in general, there's always that sense of, I know who I am, I know my worth, and you're not just gonna sit here and come for me like this. I want to let you know who you are dealing with. Okay. So trash talk is a staple. And God did give us the spirit of power, love, and sound mind. So in my humble opinion, y'all, we must be humble enough to know where God is in the spectrum and where we are. Yet God did give us these talents. So knowing how to properly flex, I think, is key. So finding that balance. So never forget who gave it to you, but also stand in your truth and gird yourself and be real sturdy about it, because he didn't tell us to be no punks about it. He just said just recognize where it came from. Don't forget. So he said, don't forget, sit down, be humble when it come to me, but just go ahead and just walk up straight. It's cold, but just don't forget, because I'll show you something. Ooh, I done seen the uppercut of humility from the man, from the Lord Most High. He know how to hit you with that 3-piece no biscuit when it comes to humility. He will shut you down. So I would just sidebar. This is sidebar. I would just say don't try to do that. Don't get ahead of yourself. Be like, slow down. Whoa, 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 whoa. Not too much. Keep it cute. So with that being said, when we're talking about these young women, standing in their truth and standing courageously in what God has given them, there's this, it's no different. It's no different. Now, these young women went out there and put it all on the court. I mean, this March Madness thing was everything. And, these are the top contenders, the best of the best for this season. And so what I saw and what I researched was that, young Reese Peasy, I like to call her that because, little Angel, Miss Angel Reese Peasy, she heard the call from Caitlin. And Caitlin was like, y'all can't see me. And, they were like, so you really think that you about to give us this work. But we gonna show you something. I'm gonna take it as a level of disrespect. And what you're not gonna do is that you're not gonna disrespect what we about to do to y'all. So, 48 hours. Old young Caitlin was like, y'all can't see me. Doing the scene all up in the opponent's face, in her opponent's face. Now, and she won because clearly now they're at the championship. Well, young Reese Peasy said, I want the smoke. And not only do I want the smoke, I want the ring. But not only do I want the ring, I want you to put respect on my name and my team name. Like the whole team got to get it, okay? They said 1-800 who want it, I deliver. Word to Wayne. They said, let's go. But here's where it got tricky. People were coming for them. For Miss Reese Peasy, little Miss Angel, 48 hours after after her opponent Caitlin had gave that same this John Cena / Tony Yayo originating wave in the face like y'all can't see me, and she was lauded for it. Caitlin was lauded like, oh, look at her, she said they don't want this smoke, y'all can't see her. And then old Reese Peasy said, not only am I gonna match your energy, but I'm gonna up the ante. I'm gonna say, hey yo, I'm gonna wave it in your face, and I'm gonna show you that they liked it, and we liked it, and we put the ring on. We about to put this ring on, shouty. And then that's when all of the inappropriate comments came. Now, with that being said, I had reminded myself of watching the NBA Finals last year, 2022 NBA Finals. I see Curry. Now, that's my homeboy in my head. Curry with the sauce. He came in and he shut it down for the Celtics. And he did the infamous, sleeping gesture like night, 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 nigga. And everybody was like, "Oh, Curry said night night," and they was all for it. And I was like, "Okay." Nobody said that was poor sportsmanship and X, Y, or Z. Or fast forward to when John Cena was actually wrestling, and excuse me, and he had the nerve to be standing on top of his opponents, nuts all in his face, in the opponent's face, and he does "Y'all can't see me" and mouthing the words to the G Unit song so he can, shout out his brother. Okay. Nobody said that, but in wrestling, that's what they here for. Like, ooh, I love me some wrestling. I used to watch it. My brother had me watching all kind of wrestling. So, I'm here for it. But nobody said it. And that arena, they want all of that vibrato. They want the Ric Flair essence. They want they want all of that. The Rock, can you smell what he cooking type of shit. Just ridiculously, just being extra with no sugar-free gum. Or even when Champ Ali, Muhammad Ali, he was standing over and just barking at his opponent. Now, mind you, the opponent was all on the ground. He wasn't coming back from that like 10 count. And Ali was he was in his bag like, "I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty. This nigga on the floor," in so many words. But that was basically the essence of it. And nobody said, oh, well, they probably did say it. They actually did, but he didn't care. But no, we love to see it. But it's a problem when Miss Reese Peasy did it. When Miss Angel Reese did it, it was a problem for some. There have always been different standards for women. But let alone, let's take a step further for black women in sports or women of color in sports. But I'm going to speak directly to that space of black women in sports. Let's talk about being, let's talk about the highlight reel of some. I'm sure there are more, and even in recent decades. You got FloJo. Now, mind you, Florence Joyner. When I tell you bad, like bad B energy, bad baddie energy, dopeness, uber talented, she had issues with the media. Trying to redirect it from her talent, her pure talent, to her being her unapologetically black, beautiful self, fly as ever self. Then of course, you have Serena and Venus. You got Gabby Douglas. You got, you can name more. We can keep going. You know what I mean? Because if you don't fit in the cookie cutter of the Eurocentric way of how to do things, if you're not neutral, if you're not a neutral paint space and you like to paint with all the colors of the wind, they really don't know how to deal with you. So, or some. I won't say everyone. I don't want to make a generalization, but for the most, I've seen the very uncomfortable and very um I would have to say demeaning comments from certain commentators. Not all, but a lot have been noted. In journalism, the best thing about it is you can always cite a reference. You can always cite an article. You can find an article and they will tell you verbatim what someone said. And I won't quote, excuse me, but I'm going to go through some of the key words I heard. When it came to me looking at some articles about FloJo and what she endured, and just how they made it about her being overly sexual, like she was overtly sexual because she had the audacity to wear more clothes, but it just so happened to be like a little leotard that was lace. She was definitely sexy, definitely feminine, but they put that projection on her. And in the ghetto, because her nails were long, because she decided to, be her unique self. And she was given a nod to where she comes from, who she was, and just being able to put herself in this space where she can feel her best so that she could do her best. Because I can assure you, whenever you're trying to be somebody else, doing something at a high level, there's always going to be something off because you're not authentically you. And they shunned her for that, but that was something that she used as a means to give her the fuel to just keep on going harder, which is what I love. And we've always, as Black women, we've always had to push a little bit harder, especially if we were unapologetically being ourselves. And now I won't say there's never room for growth, but at the same time, when you're telling somebody what they are, it's not acceptable because it didn't fit your cookie cutter box. That's not the move. That's not the thing. That's not elevation. That is shackling somebody up and trying to put them in your own box when they never said they were subscribing to you or to what you think they should be doing. A word. But I am happy that Angel Reese, she stood up and she was good and sturdy in her core and being unapologetically herself. The young queen stated the following: I don't fit, excuse me, I don't fit in the box that you all want me to be in. I'm too hood. I'm too ghetto. You told me that all year. But when other people do it, y'all don't say nothing, Reese said. So this is for the girls that look like me, that want to speak up on what they believe in. It's unapologetically you. It's bigger than me tonight. Ooh, come on, little Reese PC. Even though it's just crazy the fact that one, she actually had to speak up about something that she kept hearing about herself. you know, mind you, these are collegiate athletes. Of course, now it's to the point where some of them are being able to monetize this space, but still, she is still a young woman. And people are allowing themselves to impose their thoughts, their opinions, their preconceived notions. Probably never even been around her. Probably don't have never even been to where she's from, or just taken the time to really get to know this young queen. But they've projected what they have thought to be their preconceived notions about her, which is just, it's sad. It's a reality that it happens, but it doesn't mean that it makes it okay. But here we are, talking about this. It just, in my humble opinion, it's a way that God, it's her divine mission of her being blessed with this talent to be able to be in a space where she can be the beautiful shiny smooth rock that gets skipped into the water and becomes a ripple effect, but also a mirror to be able to allow people to examine what's really going on. So I do feel like it is deeper than her, but that was a part of her divine assignment that God gave her along the way of her greatness. Because I do believe that, like, for her to have the stats that she has and all the things that God allowed her to accomplish, here she is being this mortar, this catalyst for this type of conversation. And I'm happy, but at the same time, I know that that's a lot of weight to carry. But clearly, she's doing it, and she's doing it, her way, which is good. She's authentically being herself. Now, before I go, I just want you to think of a time in your own journey where God used you to be the catalyst for change. Whether you fostered a better work environment, a school environment, family environment, just by speaking up and speaking your truth to power, or even just speaking your truth to make a difference in some form or fashion. Shout out to y'all game changers, because this is what it takes to elevate the conversations, to elevate the space, and to being something more conducive for everyone. And you guys stand in that. Be like, okay, God, thank you for this opportunity, because as I reflect, you allowed me to be a beacon of hope, a beacon of change, to do something for a cause bigger than myself. So to God be the glory for those things. And to God be the glory for you for doing so. Now, before I go, I got to hit you with that scripture. This is Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. He appointed you as a prophet to the nations. So whatever it is that God has called you to be, God has called you to do, go ahead and keep pushing. He already gave you this assignment to be the best version of yourself. So, whatever that is, God has already set you apart. You amazing, beautiful soul, you. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. And just remember that there are new episodes every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, y'all. So tap in. You can go to rgrtmedia.com, and that should take you to the links to get to Apple, to get to any of your streaming services that you utilize to stream your podcast episodes. Thank you so much for listening, and I pray that you are well. And whatever you do, shout out to you for being the best version of yourself for today. Shout out to you for making a difference today. Whatever you did, give yourself a big hug and a pat on the back and say, "We made it, dog." That's my time. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe, to like, and make sure that you rate and review. Thank you so much. Bye for now.